Ok, mình có những bạn diễn giả ngày hôm nay rồi. Calypso Robotics, are you here? Okay. Vâng, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với buổi workshop đầu tiên của chuỗi First Open Training do Đại học FPT và Ban chuyên môn First Tech Challenge Việt Nam tổ chức. Mình là Tuấn Minh, MC của buổi workshop ngày hôm nay. First Open, nếu các bạn không biết thì First Open Training là một chuỗi bao gồm các buổi workshop cung cấp kiến thức từ cơ bản đến nâng cao dành cho các bạn học sinh trung học phổ thông và trung học cơ sở về robotics và công nghệ dựa trên các giáo án First Tech Challenge dành cho lớp học nhằm chuẩn bị kỹ năng mềm và kỹ năng cứng của các bạn học sinh. Chương trình thì sẽ không giới hạn ở các cuộc thi FTC mà còn mở rộng cho các bạn học sinh có quan tâm, hứng thú với cộng đồng First. Và mình xin phép được chia sẻ cho các bạn agenda của buổi ngày hôm nay. Ok, nếu như mà các bạn đã nắm được rồi thì mình xin phép được chuyển đến phần tiếp theo. Đó là hôm nay sẽ có một sự kiện diễn ra song song. Đó là First Makerspace được mở vào lúc 13 giờ đến 17 giờ tại Hà Nội. Và đây là không gian sinh hoạt làm việc kết nối dành cho cộng đồng. Chi tiết các bạn có thể xem thêm trên kênh Facebook của First Tech Challenge mà chúng mình sẽ để ở link trong kênh chat. Và sau đây mình sẽ giới thiệu một chút về tổ chức First và First Tech Challenge tại Việt Nam. Tổ chức First là một tổ chức phi lợi nhuận được thành lập bởi nhà sáng chế Dean Kamen và mong muốn xây dựng một thế hệ trẻ tự tin, sáng tạo và có khả năng giải quyết các vấn đề cấp bách của thế giới. Tổ chức nhấn mạnh vai trò của STEM trong việc tạo ra những nhà lãnh đạo tương lai, giúp họ phát triển kỹ năng cần thiết để đối mặt với những thách thức toàn cầu. First hiện tại đã lan tỏa tinh thần của giải đấu tới rất nhiều học sinh ở các độ tuổi của nhiều quốc gia trên thế giới. Trong đó, First Tech Challenge cho học sinh từ lớp 7 đến lớp 12 đã xuất hiện lần đầu tại Việt Nam vào tháng 2 năm 2024 với sự góp mặt của 26 đội thi đến từ các trường trung học phổ thông trên toàn quốc. First Tech Challenge Việt Nam mùa giải năm nay với chủ đề là Into the Deep sẽ có sự góp mặt lần đầu tiên của các đội thi quốc tế và sẽ có nhiều giải thưởng hơn, và hai giải thưởng Inspire Award và First Play Alliance Captain sẽ tiến thẳng đến giải vô địch thế giới ở Houston, Mỹ. Và tiếp theo mình xin phép được giới thiệu về diễn giả của buổi workshop ngày hôm nay, đó chính là đội Calypso 23346. Calypso Robotics là đội thi First Tech Challenge có trụ sở tại California, Mỹ, gồm chủ yếu là các bạn nữ đảm nhiệm vị trí lãnh đạo. Và ở mùa giải trước là một đội rookie tại giải CA Local Fresno. Calypso đã đạt giải Inspire Award và là đội thi rookie đầu tiên đạt giải này trong vòng 7 năm. Và hôm nay chúng mình rất vinh dự khi đội Calypso sẽ truyền đạt kinh nghiệm và kiến thức của đội cho các bạn. Mong các bạn sẽ lắng nghe và chuẩn bị cho mình những câu hỏi để có thể hỏi đáp đội Calypso tại phần Q&A. Okay, Calypso, may you start your presentation, please?
Yeah, hi, we're Calypso Robotics. I'm one of the co-captains. So a little bit about us is that we're an FTC team. We currently have 12 members, and we're based in Palo Alto, California, which is near like San Francisco. Motto is explore the unknown, so just exploring new things and trying out like different areas and aspects of building a robot or outreach in business. We have an initiative called Purple Pathway, helping out like FTC teams, and we're a community team, and we're a nonprofit organization called Invention Robotics. So a little bit about the hardware side of building a robot. We have the drivetrain, which can be different for every single robot that you see in FTC. So one type of drivetrain are like bevel gears for your motors and wheels. Some pros about bevel gears is that the motors, as you can see in the top photo, it fits easily in the channels and is really compact. The some pros about bevel gears is that they strip really easily, which mean that when you run the robot, the teeth don't line up and they start making like a clicking sound, which isn't really good. And that means that it's kind of hard to replace because you have an axle going through a wheel and then these bevel gears with set screws that you have to loosen and then you have to take out everything. So those are some pros and cons with bevel gears for your drivetrain. Another type of drivetrain where you connect your motor to your wheel are timing belts. So those basically don't strip like bevel gears. They're really similar, but because they have teeth, but it's not like bevel gears, they go 90 degrees against each other. Timing belts, they're parallel with the wheel and they can be really customizable, especially with our drivetrain. We 3D printed our mounting gear for our timing belt, and it's really, really light compared to bevel gears. Some cons about it is it might not be as compact because it takes up basically the whole channel of the drivetrain, and can be expensive as well. So it's like, and it can take a while to ship, but it does depend on like the different type of brand that you get it from. But these are just two types of drivetrains that you can experiment with. There's a lot of different other like options, but these two are the most common. All right, and then some stuff about robot hardware. So the control hub and expansion hub. The control hub is mostly the brain of the robot, and it's where the robot gets the power from and distributes to all your different mechanisms. And when coding, you like set it to the motors and servos, and it also gets data. So then we have the expansion hub, which has just extra ports so that if you have um because in FTC you only have limited to 8 motors, right? So if you have four already using for the drivetrain, then you need another four for different mechanisms, right? So you plug it into the expansion hub, and it also gets power from the control hub. Some things about electrical. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you know, Alan.
uh, s- um, to connect the mechanism to the control hub, you have to wire it. But sometimes the electricity traveling through the wires in the robot are able to travel through the middle of the robot, which causes electricity to run everywhere throughout the robot, which is really not what you want because it doesn't. It's not great. And by using a grounding strap, it can effectively prevent something called electrostatic discharge when electricity suddenly momentarily travels through two different charged objects. An electric static discharge, also known as ESD, can mess with the robot's control hub and cause the robot to disconnect in the middle of a match without warning. And the ground strap can safely redirect electricity away and prevent short circuits.
And one last thing is wireless configuration for your robot. So instead of connecting your robot through a wire and connecting your controller through a wire to like connect to the robot, you have to do it wirelessly. So you do it using Wi-Fi. And control hubs have built-in Wi-Fi and driver hub. And so using your driver hub, you will connect to the robot's Wi-Fi when you turn the robot on. And if the Wi-Fi doesn't automatically connect, you'll go to settings and then press on Wi-Fi, and then you'll see like a robot's Wi-Fi. It's usually FTC dash some numbers and letters, and then the password should be password, which is kind of funny, but yeah. And then the driver hub will be indicated whether or not it's connected to the in the upper review. And yeah, that's basically the basics of like wireless configuration.
Well, oh, wonderful. So robotic, you guys have shown us that you are a highly experienced team, and thank you for sharing useful insights. and the interesting information that you guys have gave in your presentation. Now we should get into the Q&A section. Và cảm ơn Calypso Robotics vì những thông tin của các bạn. Tiếp theo là chúng ta sẽ đến với phần hỏi đáp với diễn giả của chúng ta ngày hôm nay. Nếu các bạn có bất kỳ câu hỏi nào, hãy đừng ngần ngại mà nhắn vào kênh chat và Calypso Robotics sẽ rất sẵn lòng trả lời cho các bạn nhé. Well, because they are planning for the question, so can I ask you about, can you provide practical examples of how your team does the wiring for the robots? Because I know that there are many new rookie team got struggle in this part of robot.
Right. So wiring can be it can be kind of hard to first start off with. So when wiring with all your wires connecting from the control hub and expansion hub, you want to make sure that you don't just tie it all in a bundle. You want to make sure that it tracks to where your motor and servos are, and then you start zip tying. So you want to make sure that. So one example on our robot is like, let's say, our linear slides, right? Our linear slides use motors, and they're placed vertically on our drivetrain. And so with the wires coming out and going to our control hub here, right? It can be a little challenging. So when our wire comes out of the control hub, we zip tie it to like the channels that are on the path to where the motors are, and we make like a bundle if there's extra wiring on the motor, and we just zip tie the wires around the motor itself. And servos are pretty similar. The basic component of just wiring is making sure that your wires aren't in the way of any of your mechanisms so that they don't cut or anything. And I think zip tying to like channels or anything that is on your robot could be like useful.
Can you? Okay. Sorry, I just got some internet correction. Okay, so can you guys tell me about the last time you guys about a story of you guys when you guys got the inspire word? I think it's a meaningful experience to share with the team on first aid challenge.
Right. So, I think it was exactly last year at Fresno, because we actually just came to Fresno right now. So last year when we went to Fresno, it was our second qualifier, and we came pretty prepared. And so our couple qualifier matches, they didn't go so great, and we were ranked kind of low. And so what we did was we tried to convince the winning alliance captain to try to choose us during lunch. And so they were like, okay. And they saw Robo and they agreed to pick us. And so for our semifinals and finals matches, we were able to win. And so we were the winning alliance captain's pick. And how we got inspired was for judging. We practiced a lot, like a lot. and it takes like just a lot of practice. We interacted with the judges a lot. You want to stand out. You want to tell a story. You don't want to like just list a bunch of things that you guys do. Like you want to make an impact because there's going to be a bunch of teams and judges can't remember everything and they only take down a couple notes and you want to make sure that they remember what you tell them. And so after our judging, we have a pit, right, where all our stuff are. And so judges would come back and they would ask us like deeper questions to know more about things. And so we would tell them more in depth because judging can only has a max of 5 minutes, right? So we wanted to make sure that we really make an impact. And we just told them like as much as we could. We like wanted to have fun. We showed like how we were enthusiastic, especially like in between our matches where we weren't doing so well. We wanted to show them our gracious professionalism. And yeah, that was like um our story on how we got Inspire, especially because Inspire isn't an easy thing to get. So the main focus is just standing out and doing something really like unique.
Thanks for the wonderful answer from you guys. Okay, I have received a question from a student in the chat. That can you tell us about the process of creating cascading slide structures and horizontal slides?
So for linear slides, um, this year we have our intake that has horizontal slides. And so it extends out and grabs samples. So how we did that was we basically catted out a mounting plate that has mounting holes, and we made holes where the linear slides already had holes. And then on our drivetrain, we have like um sidewalls with a bunch of holes for mounting. So we had a plate, we mounted our linear slides on there, and then we mounted the plate to our drivetrain. And so that's basically how you mount um most of your components, especially our vertical linear slides. We have horizontal and vertical. Vertical is for our outtake, where it puts the specimens on the bar. And our vertical linear slides use the same idea. We have a plate, we mount it on the plate, and then we have the plate mount to the drivetrain. You want to CAD it so it adapts to it fits to your robot. And you want to make it like compact. You don't want to make it like humongous with like a bunch of holes. You want to make it just so it fits. And it has extra mounting holes just in case like you want to change something and then you don't have to take out your piece and then like re-drill it or something.
Well, thanks for sharing the knowledge of you guys. So can I ask a question that how did you guys convince the top four captain to be their alliance? You know, there are many competent candidates that they got some obstacle or just they are just unlucky, so they didn't get into the top four. So can you show us how to convince them?
Convincing a team isn't always easy, especially if it's the top ranked team. So what we did was last year's main like scoring component was hanging. And the top ranked team, their hanging system wasn't as like it wasn't like the best, but it wasn't bad, right? So what we wanted to do was we tried to convince them, showing our auto and showing our hanging, and showing how we scored pixels, especially because in our qualifying matches, the reason why we weren't ranked as high was because our robot was like DCing a lot, and it was like not good. So we tried to during lunch, we told them, okay, this is our hanging, this is how it works. We showed them multiple times. We did a test run. We did a practice match showing like how our whole robot system works and how it drops, how it picks up. and how it hangs, how it drone launches, and we had a discussion. We were like, okay, like this is like our robot. Like it's up to you guys, like to make up and decide like what if you guys want to pick us or not. And so it really does depend on the team. And it won't always go like the way you want, like how they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say no, they'll be like, oh, there's probably a better team than you. But I mean, it's all just like fun and like you just want to try to do your best to try to convince them. Especially because yeah, there's a lot of other teams competing as well.
Yeah, wonderful. I think that is like a priceless experience for a rookie team like in Vietnam. So this is the second season of First Tech Challenge in Vietnam. There are many rookie team, so they sometimes they will get struggle in understanding the role, and while in the live matches they would like get penalty. So can you show us how to avoid it?
Yeah, so getting penalties is also a really big thing. We also got a bunch of penalties in Fresno as well. But penalties you can't really expect, especially because you don't know how your lines will perform as well. So you want to try your best to try to avoid them, like just being safe, like being cautious when you're especially when you're a driver. And if you're a human player, you want to make sure the robot is out of the zone. You want to be careful of other robots coming in and out. And it's just you can't really like expect when to get penalties or not, especially because the other team, right, the opposing alliance will probably like play defense and then like crash into you or something. Like you never know, or your robot could do something crazy, like it could go haywire, or like could like hit everything. And so getting penalties isn't like expectable, but what you can do is like just practice, like do driver practice a lot, try to get used to driving, getting used to how it works. Also, if you're a human player, you want to make sure that when the drivers come in, when the robot comes in, you want to make sure that the robot is out of the tape, and so that when the referees like look, they're not like, oh, the robot's in the zone while the human player's hand is also in the zone. So you want to make sure that that's kind of like avoidable. And driver coach as well, you want to make sure that everyone is like doing what they're doing and just try to avoid getting penalties. A really big penalty is this year is especially in the ascent zone around the submersible. If you're in the other team's ascent zone and you crash into them, they automatically get 15 points for a penalty. So you want to try to avoid that, especially because 15 points can be a lot. So yeah.
Well, I think that is one of the most common example in the first Tech Challenge matches. So okay, to the next question, there is a student in chat uh have a question is how should fundraising activities be organized?
Right. Fundraising, you can do a lot of different things, especially if you want to focus in your community. So what we did was we did bake sales, we asked for like donations, um, and we mostly just donated a bunch of things and did a bunch of just a lot of different events in our community. If you want to go more beyond that, you could try to connect with somebody that you know, like that's not really in your community, or try to get somebody like your coach's friends like has like some connections or something, or just any connection that you can find, and then try to come up with ideas on like what to do. Like we also at Lunar New Year Thiết, at our event we sold a bunch of 3D printed dragons, and we brought our 3D printer there. We also made bánh like homemade bánh, and we sold that as well. And so you can sell a lot of different things really. If you just find like different events, come up with things to sell that you have and you can make. And yeah, it once you start there, then it really goes beyond that.
Oh, that's amazing. I like the way that you related to the traditional cuisine of Vietnam. Thank you very much. So another question, uh, Libya. I have a question. Can you tell me how your team practice flying the robot? How long do you think training session is enough?
Right. So when doing driver practice, um, you want to try to get as much as you can, and you want to feel like as prepared as you can. Mostly, if you know when your qualifier is going to be, you want to make sure it's around 2 weeks before that you start driving the robot. If your robot isn't like ready yet, then you shouldn't start driving. Just make sure that your robot is like ready. There isn't a certain amount of time that's enough, but I think the minimum could be like around, I don't know, maybe like 6 hours total of like trying to practice drivers practice. Different sessions, like breaking it up on different days would be a really good thing, especially because you don't want to do it all at once. So just starting to get the hang of it. Um you want to just try to get as much as you can, because especially in matches, like you don't know what can go wrong, and you want to make sure you're prepared on like what to do.
Yes. Thanks for answering. So when it comes to driving robots, I know that there are two methods of driving a robot. Is that one player, one console, or two console? I know that there are different structure of the bots that will suitable with both two methods, but which one do you prefer and why?
Right. So it's different for every team. What we did was we have two drivers, especially because it depends on how many components you have and how complicated it is to drive. So if you have one driver, you want to make sure that they're they have enough buttons, their joystick, and they're like comfortable with it. But especially if you can't fit enough like controls onto that one controller, you want to make sure that you have two drivers. Two drivers is, I feel, much easier. But there's a con to it, which is like communicating, because you're not like one person, so you have to like really be good at communicating with the other person that's driving. But with two people driving, one person can drive like the drivetrain robot, and then the other person can do like the intake, the outtake, other mechanisms. Um, Especially because if you have one driver, it could be hard. But with our team, we haven't tried one driver before, but we just noticed that two drivers is mostly easier for us because we have so many different components, and especially because we have a lot of like one button things that we do, like especially in teleop, where if you press one button then it'll do this whole sequence, and we use up a lot of the the buttons on our gamepad. So
Well, not interesting actually. Okay, so there is robotic teams. I mean robotic club in Vietnam. They ask a question. Uh, I want to ask that how did you guys form a new team? Form a new team, like how to find other PP or who would like to join? Plan for the season events or etc.
So how we formed a team was, it started out with me and another one of my friends. And we had the idea, especially because our older brothers had were in a robotics team. And so we were like, okay, how about we start a team as well, because it seems really fun. So it just started out with the two of us, and then we started contacting like our friends, like, hey, do you want to join this like robotics team? It'll be really fun. You build a robot, you do outreach, you do different things. And some people said yes, some people said no, but we tried to contact as many people as we could. We also had like an application form on our website where it was like, oh, if you're in our community and you're interested in joining, then you fill out this form, and then we do a tryout, and then we see if like you're fit for the team or not. We mostly tried to find people that we knew, especially if you have um people that you aren't as close with join the team. It could be like kind of awkward and like functioning as a team won't be as comfortable. So you want to just find people that you're really close with and that you know. Um, Planning for the season, we have the whole summer to plan. And so what we did was we trained everyone, like everyone on the team, because we all started out as rookies. We didn't know how everything was. So we got our coaches and we found a few mentors from like our siblings that did FTC as well. And so we trained everyone on hardware, software. We did outreach events in the summer as well. We did fundraising. We did basically everything that we could to try to prepare us for like our first like every year. And we just wanted to make sure like everyone felt prepared.
Wow, I think that is necessary for like a major number of club in Vietnam. So to me, I know that Calypso Robotic is a team that does really good in outreach section of first set challenge. So can I ask you guys that why you want to do that? Why you want to help others people, help other team, or do outreach?
Um, Spreading outreach is really important because it's one component of FTC. You really want to spread first. You want to spread STEM or STEAM. You want to make sure that it spreads to your whole community. You're going beyond that. And the main reason why we do it is because it's mostly gracious professionalism. We want to show other kids how it's like to build things and how fun it is. And we want to make sure like they just enjoy doing things, especially if like a kid is really interested in building something and they don't have the right parts. So we want to make sure that we can help them and like achieve like what they're dreaming of. And so that's basically our main reason why we do outreach, especially in Vietnam where some of our team members have like relatives there, and so we're able to have connections. And we noticed like how some kids like they don't have what they needed, so we wanted to make sure that we're able to help them.
Yeah, wonderful. Um, Another question from robotics in a nutshell team, also about outreach. So, how did you guys plan your outreach events or something like that?
So we plan our outreach events first by brainstorming as a team. And so we all gather around and then we think of ideas that we could possibly do. So if like we each like share ideas. So one could say, "Oh, we could do like a bake sale, like what we did." And so and then we start building on top of each other's ideas and we have a whole list. And then we try to accommodate for that. So we want to make sure if we're doing this, then oh, we want to set a date and time. Or if your event has organizations or other people that are outside of your team contributing, you want to make sure that you plan for that and you're just ready. And so planning for outreach events can be difficult when coming up with ideas. So what we mainly did was we went online and then we searched up like what other teams were doing as well, and that really helped us because we got like new ideas, and what we saw really helped as well. And so you want to make sure that your team is ready, and your art events don't have to have everyone going to it, especially because if your team has like some people work on the robot and some people fundraising, you want to make sure that not everyone has to like leave that and then go for an outreach event. You can have just a small group of people going to an outreach event, and you can like switch out people as well. So it's all just about managing that. And yeah.
So wonderful. Okay, another question from robotics in a nutshell. So, did you guys buy a new kit for first season? Uh, for first season, or any second-hand parts? Like many teams do not get enough budget to buy a starter kit. So, do you get any suggestion for them?
Right. So, for our first season, we did get a drivetrain starter kit, and we started building on top of that. Um, we had a we had a CNC which allowed us to manufacture custom parts, but we also ordered from GoBuilder, so we um we did that and we worked on a robot. I understand that like there a lot of teams have budgets, and so starting out with a starter kit is fine, honestly, because it really helps you get into the idea of what to do. Um, and if you want to get beyond a starter kit, um, like it depends on your budget, but you what you can start to do is you can contact like companies that may be like producing like custom parts, and then you can like send them stuff and then they can ship it to you. Or if you want to just order from like GoBuilder or any like store that has pre-made parts already, and you can try like working with that and then customizing it. Especially that's what we did and we still do that because manufacturing parts takes a lot of time. And so what you can do is you can start with a starter kit, and then you can customize things that you want your robot to do. And yeah.
Yes, yes. Thanks for answering. I know that robotic in an SL team will want to appreciate your answer a lot. So I know that your qualification match is going to happen. So can you tell us about how you prepare for the days that really near, really close to the like competition day?
So basically what we did was, especially because we have our competition tomorrow, we had a Thanksgiving break. And so it was a whole week off from school, and we tried to cram as much as we could, especially because we didn't have as much time before. So you really just want to work on the robot as much as you can. You want to focus on a lot of different components, and you want to just practice, 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 like driver practice, because in a match, like it can get really, really hectic. And so what we did was we prepped for judging practice. We all came as a team. We had online meetings as well where we practiced, and then we had feedback from our coaches on what we could improve on, and also our engineering portfolio. We started around 2 to 3 weeks before our qualifier because engineering portfolio does take a lot of time to work on. And so we also got feedback from our mentors from that. And judging practice, we started around 1 week or 2 weeks before our qualifier. We were planning to start our driver practice around 2 weeks before our qualifier, but we ended up, I think, only having a week. But we tried to cram as much as we could, especially like after school, where we would just work on the robot, practice, and then fix whatever was needed.
So thanks you for answering the question. Okay. Um, các bạn có còn câu hỏi gì các bạn có thể đặt thêm vào trong chat nhé. Nếu như các bạn không còn câu hỏi gì cho diễn giả thì chúng mình xin phép được kết thúc cuộc workshop ngày hôm nay tại đây. Cảm ơn vì sự góp mặt của Calypso. Thanks for the attending Calypso Robotic Team. Và chúng mình cảm ơn các bạn đã tham gia với chúng mình. Và chúng mình có thể nhờ các bạn, nếu các bạn tiện thì có thể bật cam lên để camera lên để chúng mình chụp một tấm ảnh lưu niệm. Cursor Robotic, can you guys turn on the camera so we can like snap a picture? Okay, is everybody ready? Say cheese. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I hope you guys will have a wonderful and lucky match tomorrow. Yes. Okay. Cảm ơn các bạn đã tham gia với chúng mình và đừng quên tham gia các buổi workshop kể tiếp, và để không bỏ lỡ bất kỳ thông tin nào của First Tech Challenge Việt Nam 2025 thì các bạn có thể lên kênh Facebook của First Tech Challenge Việt Nam, và hẹn các bạn trong các buổi workshop sắp tới. Goodbye and see you all soon. Bye bye.